That's not real. That's you misread the fucking title. Text DPS says Uvalde school shooter was not one of the students arrested for the 2018 threat. It was not. Dude, what the fuck we just saw? Why this is what she's saying is the worst idea. My ears are bleeding. How did parents having guns benefit saving the kids? When was the last time an NRA supporter drew a gun on the TSA infringing freedom? Never. They're all pussies. I agree. That's why I fucking threw my support for Madison Cawthorn, who is a fucking woke and brave Second Amendment warrior. Okay, Allah has given his strongest warrior, Madison Cawthorn, his hardest battles, sneaking a gun onto a fucking flight.
I'm often struck by the subject and the issue of timing. The first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, were ratified effective December 15th, 1791. But what else was happening in the world at that time? The French Revolution. Unlike the U.S. Constitution.
Shut the fuck up, dumbass.
Texas stands with Uvalde for the long term in helping every single person in this community.
I hope someone asks Governor Greg Abbott how he feels about giving the Uvalde Police Department $500,000 extra in like his own special grant, and whether the Uvalde PD put that into good use or not.
I know that there have already been some offerings to ensure that cost of funerals will be taken care of. During the course of the meeting, there was an anonymous donor who attended the meeting and provided $175,000 to ensure that every cost of every family concerning anything about the funeral services is going to be taken care of. We appreciate that anonymous donor for his generosity, and we will ensure that those resources get into the right hands to make sure that no family who is suffering from incalculable heartbreak at this time will have to worry about a single cost with regard to anything concerning this travesty. Now, in addition to that, there are all kinds of needs as well as all kinds of services. One of the needs is need for mental health care. And we have an abundance of mental health care services that we are going to be able to provide. That includes state and private providers that will be providing mental health assistance to anyone in the community who needs it. And when I say anyone, that means the totality of anybody who lives in this community. We believe that you would benefit from mental health care services. Those mental health care services are free. We just want you to ask for them. The way that you can ask for them, whether it be today, tomorrow, next month, or next year, is this number.
Are you fucking stupid? You think governors don't have more power, especially in a state like Texas, than the fucking president? Have you heard of the Civil War, dude? It's kind of their entire thing. Is like do you understand that they literally got fucking owned by weather not that long ago, specifically because of their independence? Texas is actually the true DPRK. Okay? In many respects, Texas is a perfect example of what happens when you try to do JUSHA inside of a federal system. Okay? Straight up. JUSHA ideology. Democratic People's Republic of Texas. Governor Greg Abbott is actually the councilman. Chairman Greg Abbott does real JUSHA, the ideology of self-reliance, and regularly get their fucking asses cumstered and dumpstered on. It's true. Uvalde SWAT team bagged about training at schools on Facebook. Oh yeah, no, I know.
OneStarFoundation.org. To be more precise, if you go to OneStarFoundation.org/Uvalde, you make a contribution at that site that is already a pre-registered 501c3 organization, provide a donation to that site. There is no overhead cost. 100% of the money that you donate is going to be going directly to victims of this horrible crime to help them with their lives. One of the pre-designated donation sites that it would be going to is the Robb School Memorial Fund. So again, the onestarfoundation.org.uvalde. Well, you can do your part to help out the people in this community that are suffering in incalculable ways. In addition to that, we have set up a central headquarters for victim assistance services at the Family Assistance Center located at the Uvalde County Fairplex. As we'll discuss probably here momentarily, there may be a relocation.
Someone pointed this out in the chat as well, but this is a lock. You know cops are going to get... I wonder if we're still thinking about this a month and a half from now, like 2 months from now, we'll see an article written about what percentage of the revenue that was supposed to go to the victims went directly into the cops' pockets for their PTSD fund. Oh, it was Cleric who said that. Yeah, the cops are going to get all the money to help with their PTSD from hearing little kids die. 100%. Someone will write, like the Texas fucking State Ledger or whatever, the Star Tribune will write an article. No one will care about it. We'll cover it. But you know these motherfuckers are going to get like a big chunk of that.
Whether it be food or gas or other...
Bro, what is happening back here? Why does this person look like she's going to cut fucking Greg Abbott's head off?
We speak. Also, at the Family Assistance Center, the Health and Human Services Commission, who you'll be hearing from more here in a second, they will assist families in finding health and human benefit programs. Staff from the Texas Department of Insurance, the Teachers Retirement System, the Employees Retirement System will provide access to benefits, including workers' compensation. Staff from the Texas Workforce Commission are available to get families child care and unemployment benefits. And state staff are available to provide assistance to business owners impacted by this tragedy. Healing the broken hearts, it's going to take a long time. But through the generosity of our fellow Texans and the good works of neighbors helping neighbors, we can begin to stitch back together the fabric of Uvalde. Helping us to do that is the leader of Uvalde himself, and that is the mayor of Uvalde, who I would like to ask to speak at this time.
Governor, I'd like to thank you for bringing all these state agencies here and the services you've offered our community, our citizens, because these families are going to need this help, not just today, but in the long term, as you mentioned. So for that, Governor, I appreciate, and
Chat,
all I
what
can
time
say
is,
is I've seen you these last 2 days in the capacity.
What time? I don't give a fuck about this guy. Fuck this guy. Why in a community that's like the 80% Hispanic is the mayor white? I don't know. Trump is on at 2:30. Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. Good to know.
My heart's broken for these families. But the one good thing about our community is Uvalde is a strong community. I think if some of you reporters have been here a while enough, you'll see that there's a lot of unity in our community, and it will take some time, but we will get over this, and Uvalde will come back stronger and better than ever. So God bless you and thank you.
Yeah, this guy called Beto O'Rourke a son of a bitch.
Someone who has been actively engaged in helping the victims of crime already and will remain engaged all the way through is the District Attorney, Christina Mitchell.
Thank you, Governor, for being here. And we want to thank everybody that's reached out to us in Uvalde from across the state, from across the country.
Are you good? Are you okay? Like, first of all, the second part of this, I think is a fucking... Why is Myth catching strays? Like, Myth is awesome. You know, shit on me all you want, but why the fuck are you talking shit about Myth? You know what I mean? Also, I would like to shout out this person. This is not the first time I've heard about this. You know, everyone said, you know, this would die. This community would die. when Bernie was no longer in the running. This community would die when, Joe Biden became president. And this community would die over and over again. I've heard it many times. That it would die after the elections. And it has only grown since then. But saying that myth fell off is pretty funny, considering that he is like what?
Is relevant for us
22
in the
years
gun
old,
rights community.
multimillionaire.
In one of his earliest battles, the young Colonel Graham,
a great person in general. Like he's fucking killing it, dude. Meanwhile, you, on the other hand, Chatter, live a life of pathetic, live a pathetic existence. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, I don't know you. But if you're spending your time coming into my chat and fucking saying shit like this, then you're, probably a very, very pathetic. But you can get better. But you got to crawl out of that deep, dark hole that you're in currently. Anyway. That dumbass probably mad at Myth for this tweet. Oh, because he said just caught up on the reports about the good guys. Police were on scene as children were being slaughtered in the classrooms. To every AR-15 owner that touts the good guy bullshit, you aren't fucking hero. You will never implement some change. Yeah. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to a guy who was just like being very, very rude for absolutely zero reason, both to me and also to my good friend Myth.
Window or break through a window and start helping them outside where they're able to run to safety. He says it wasn't until then that he could stop hearing the gunshots and he knew that he was all right. There are also warning signs that have come to light, according to investigators, Tom, that go back as far as last year that raise potential red flags here. Maybe not to law enforcement, but certainly for the community. Investigators saying that this gunman asked his sister to buy him a gun last September when he was just 17. He needed someone at least 18 to purchase that gun for him. She said no. And then we heard more about some online chatter happening between the suspect and others discussing school shootings, discussing purchasing of weapons in February, in March, leading up until what took place on Tuesday. For as much as we heard, Tom, I think what sticks with us is that there are still so many more
fucking
questions here.
Dude.
Most of all, why did they wait so long to enter that room? The director of the Texas Department of Public Safety saying, in hindsight, it was a mistake. There are 21 crosses behind me, Tom. 21 sets of parents and family members who wish that mistake wasn't made.
Yeah, I'm sure any of those answers from today are not going to satisfy any of those families. I think, Morgan, one of the most chilling details.
The only reason why cops can say, like, oops, my bad, about a situation like this, where it's like an abject failure of the highest magnitude, is because they've been able to get away with it for so long. Straight up, that's it. That's the only reason.
There were repeated calls, and it's important to note the timing of when these calls came in. We know that officers initially received fire, a group of about 3, one of which was wounded.
This guy looks like he couldn't make the cut.
Firepower this gunman had,
of
but when that larger group
foreign
got inside,
war
Tom,
correspondents, so he's doing this
essentially
instead now.
Waited, and it was during that time span.
Like, he's not sexy enough to be the war correspondent for NBC, so he's doing this instead. He's got the hair, but the hairline doesn't fit.
Or calling, whispering for help, describing the scene to dispatchers.
Hold on, I gotta pee.
Inside. One girl describing how the gunman shot through a door window, what he was saying, calling for help. And this I think, struck us, because when we ask officials why they didn't move in sooner, they said that, again, they needed to wait for tactical gear. When it arrived, there was still a lapse of about half an hour. And those 911 calls, while we haven't heard them directly, Tom, they give clear indication that there were students in need. Tom?
All right, Morgan Chesky for us. I want to bring in NBC Justice correspondent Pete Williams, who joins me with the latest on the investigation and the timeline. And Pete, I think one image that we're not going to forget ever from this are the parents outside the school pleading with police officers to let them in, to go in, to charge the suspect. And as we've received more information and a clearer look at the timeline, but again, this may change again, Pete, you've honed in on a few different times where police clearly dropped the ball here.
Well, I think the question that they're going to have to answer is the question that this may sound odd. I think the question is, where was the janitor? Why did it take so long to get the key from the janitor to open the door? Did they simply not think about opening the door with a key? What the explanation we got today from the police was that they didn't want to make the situation worse. That's what the Texas Department of Public Safety has been told by the police officers on the scene. That they thought that because so many rounds were fired the moment that Ramos walked in, more than 100 rounds, that they assumed that he had done the bulk of his shooting.
Yeah,
and then it was.
You don't understand, chat.
They didn't want.
They thought that they would trip and fall on the fucking casings. You know how dangerous they are? You know how dangerous it is to fucking trip and fall on the casings? 100 bullets, dude? Come on.
For getting in. But why did it take all that time to think about getting the key to unlock the door? I mean, I think that's a big question that's going to come up.
Bro, these motherfuckers will blame everybody. They will blame the janitor. They'll blame the fucking teacher that, like, left the fucking back door open. They will blame everyone and anyone, okay?
Please send the police now. Did the on-scene commander in the school know about those calls? The Texas Department of Public Safety says they don't know the answer to that question. And then, of course, two other things that came up today. We know now that the door into the schoolroom had a window. Was there an option to try to fire through the window at him? Or what about the exterior windows in the school? So, as you say, Tom, still a lot of questions yet to be answered.
And Pete, you know, police also had an initial opportunity to stop this shooter. We learned that the school resource officer who was not on campus apparently the shooter and thought the suspect was someone else.
Right. Didn't know that Ramos, according to the police, had actually climbed over the fence at that point and was crouching down behind a car in the parking lot.
That's crazy, bro. Good guys with guns are nowhere to be found when the crime is happening. It's crazy.
Not knowing he was there, saw someone at the other end of the school, thought that might be the shooter, but it was a teacher. And we also learned about other problems today. The door to the school had been propped open. That's a violation of the school safety protocols. The door to the classroom was unlocked, which is another violation. So it almost seems like everything that could have gone wrong here did.
All right, Pete, we thank you for that.
Dude, that's a wild fucking assessment, dude. Yeah, you know what else was a violation? You know what else was fucking crazy? The fact that he could get like 2 AR-15s delivered to him and 1,600 bullets with like 30 plus magazines.
Are gathered outside, and Garrett, we expect to hear from former President Trump as well.
Yeah, that's right, Tom.
As a custodian in Texas, wait, hold up. As a custodian in Texas, we have to make sure we lock ourselves into a room or closet so that we aren't targets for the guy to get our set of master keys. These guys are fucking idiots. Check my last message. Damn, we got a fucking custodian in the chat, dude. Thank you for that information, Munch. Also, be safe, dude. Straight up. Like, if you're a Texas custodian, who knows? You know what I mean? You're like, you're literally, you're...
Considers himself to be a strong Second Amendment supporter. He
your life is kind of at risk, unironically.
Today. Likewise, Texas senior Senator John Cornyn not appearing today, but Ted Cruz, the junior senator, speaking momentarily, and of course, former President Trump, the headlining event here tonight. Tom, I've been talking to attendees here, and they are just
trigger warning. Theodore Jebediah Cruz, folks. He's right. He's over. He's talking. Let's hear what he has to say. He, brave enough, continued to go to the NRA convention. He didn't pussy out like Greg Abbott did.
Texas has repeatedly seen the face of evil. Repeatedly. I've been on the ground after these tragedies, one after another. I was in Dallas in 2016 in Sutherland Springs in 2017, in Santa Fe in 2018, in El Paso and Midland, Odessa in 2019.
Okay, bro, is this your hobby? Like, what the fuck? At a certain point, you should have fucking recognized that guns play a role in this, right?
Was the picture of horror. If children are the picture of innocence, then the lunatics and the monsters like this one, the one who would deliberately murder children, they are the picture of evil. Many of us in this room are mothers and fathers. What happened in Uvalde is the ultimate nightmare for every parent. The anguish of those families right now is unimaginable. The very worst pain on earth. All of us in Texas need to come together and comfort those families right now. We need to love them, embrace them, and take care of them.
And no matter what, do not blame the guns, okay? And if those families end up blaming the guns, then fuck them. You know what I'm saying? We need to pray and comfort ourselves. Let us not forget in this dark hour, in this dark time, who the real victims of society are. Not the parents. They are victims too. But the guns themselves. I want all of you to join your hands, interlock with one another, and join your hands in prayer as we pray to AR-15. Ensure that no harm comes to our guns.
And lay people coming together and standing as one. No matter the horror.
Why do people say check my last message,
our state's response to each act of evil, to each
top of the hour, get fucked,
has always been one of unity and strength and resilience.
I need to ban that person at this point, right? Like do I just eat that? Do I just take that? I don't think so, right? It is true, though. This is the top of the fucking hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get one free Prime subscription a month, or you can get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. They are banned across Twitch and YouTube now. Don't worry, I got you. Thank God.
About a psychopath coming into our classrooms to commit murder. The elites who dominate our culture.
You're an elite.
Tell us that firearms.
You are the elite.
At the root of the problem.
What are you? You went to Harvard, dude. You're Canadian. Like, what is this?
Powerful politicians and their allies in the media, the leaders of the largest corporations, and many of the most famous celebrities, and those who echo and amplify them. Their resources are limitless. Their megaphone.
Unlike the NRA, the small bean NRA, dude.
Many of these,
you know what I mean? Oh, the elites, their resources are limitless. Unlike this, our brave NRA members here.
Equipped with private security, or at the very least, from safe and expensive neighborhoods protected by high home prices and low crime rates. Such people can afford an indulgent ideology that ignores reality.
Dog, you're at the NRA convention. Every single upper middle class fucking auto dealership owning motherfucker is there right now. Not a single one of the people in that crowd actually lives in a fucking poor neighborhood and needs a gun to protect themselves in said poor neighborhood. Shut the fuck up. You literally have like the highest concentration of jet ski dealership owners in the United States of America. There's dudes in that crowd right now that own multiple Tigers, okay? Statistically speaking, this is statistically sound. Texas has more tigers than any other fucking place on the planet, okay? In captivity. More tigers in captivity in Texas than the rest of the planet that are out and about and free. So this idea is like, this idea that like these are mom and pop like store owners or whatever the fuck is psychotic.
When radical district attorneys refuse to prosecute violent crime in cities across America, rarely has the Second Amendment been more necessary to secure the rights of our fellow citizens. But many would still tell us that the evil on display in Uvalde or in Buffalo derives from the presence of guns in the hands of ordinary American citizens. It's far easier to slander one's political adversaries and to demand that responsible citizens forfeit their constitutional rights.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Than it is to examine the cultural sickness giving birth to unspeakable.
Dog, it's literally the Republican Party. The moral rot is coming from inside the house, dog. Oh my God. The cultural sickness is the Republican Party.
Violent hatred is so prevalent in America. It requires a sick soul to drive a truck into a crowded sidewalk, to plant a bomb at a marathon, or to fly a plane into a building. It requires a sick soul to open fire in a movie theater, or in a church, or in a school. A speeding automobile in the hands of a madman is deadly, as is a jet airplane. Tragedies like the events of this week are a mirror, forcing us to ask hard questions, demanding that we see where our culture is failing. Looking at broken families, absent fathers, declining church attendance, social media bullying, violent online content, desensitizing the act of murder in video games, chronic isolation.
Once again, not incorrect.
Prescription drug and opioid abuse and their collective effects on the psyche of young Americans.
Except for the video games, but not incorrect overall. We are a sick nation.
Multifaceted.
But like, you're not doing anything about it. The only time that these motherfuckers bring up like structural problems is to point to their existence as a matter of as a way to deflect away from other systemic solutions that are required to be enacted to, I don't know, like lower the number of guns that are in circulation and shit like that.
See, they don't have less gun violence. Indeed, they contain some of the most dangerous communities on the face of the earth. We also know that there are communities in places like Texas with extraordinarily high rates of gun ownership and extraordinarily low rates of gun violence. We know that keeping guns away from citizens who follow the law does very little to keep them away from criminals who ignore the law. We know that there are no more guns per capita in this nation today than there were 50 or 100 years ago. That's worth underscoring. In 1972, the rate of per capita gun ownership in the United States was 43%. In 2021, the rate is 42%. The rate of gun ownership hasn't changed.
Wait, what?
And yet, acts of evil like we saw this week.
Dog, the handguns in circulation, the type of guns in circulation is drastically different. And also, there are more guns in circulation than ever before. There's no way that is right. There's no fucking way that that is right. How many people die by suicide of firearms in Texas, Ted? No, there's no fucking shot. He's saying per capita is population based. I don't believe that. I don't believe the per capita ownership. I do not believe that. Especially since like the 70s, dude. What the fuck? Saying ownership, not number of guns. Gun violence per capita is literally lower in Illinois than Texas. He's such a liar. LaMaFAO. Hold on. He's doing the misgift, bro. 58% of you aren't subscribed. I mean, dude, that's always true. In 1950, there were so many 100 million. There were probably 100 million less Americans. So percentage kind of shitty way. Lying. That means that there are more guns per people who own. There are more guns. What? Per capita gun ownership not amounts to guns per capita. Oh my God, no. Oh, he's trying to say he's trying to say that like the armed percentage of the population is like pretty much the same. That's fine. Okay, yeah, but you're literally fucking comparing like dudes who had pea shooters and shit with the artillery that you can fucking purchase now. Quoting percentage of households owning firearms.
We must act decisively to stop them.
No worries, Ted. I got you. 55% of all firearm deaths in Texas were suicide. 58% of all suicide deaths were firearm. Yeah, that's the other thing. When we talk about like the mental health problems in this fucking country, one immediate way to stop at least like or to basically curb back the number of fucking suicides that happen is by literally stopping the circulation of weapons. 97% of suicide attempts with a gun are successful in comparison to cutting or pills, which have way, way, way lower fucking success ratings, okay? And that's precisely why even men, like, this statistic bears itself out in the higher rate of suicide among men, because men are more likely to commit suicide by using a gun. Gun ownership is so fundamentally American that, like, you literally see it in the fucking suicides, dude. Well, mental health is obviously huge. I'm glad they're at least looking at that now, but, like, can someone get mentally sick, get a gun law? Yes, and also they're not looking at mental health. They've been saying mental health as a deflection since day one, while simultaneously shutting down every bill that tries to fucking fund mental health initiatives. Do not believe these people, okay? It's the same concept as, like, what about our homeless veterans, okay? People always love talking about, like, oh, well, you know, immigrants, we're gonna help immigrants. What about our homeless veterans? And then when you talk about homeless veterans individually, they're like, yeah, they're homeless because they didn't work hard enough. So don't ever fucking listen to a thing that a Republican says, or even a fucking Democrat, really. Don't ever listen to a thing that a politician says and be like, wow, he's genuine about this. He's being genuine as fuck. It's actually positive that they're talking about homelessness, or it's positive that they're talking about fucking mental health initiatives. Like, they're just using that as a deflection. Republicans love using one systemic inefficiency against another in an effort to deflect away from the main problem. It's all show, and suckers eat that shit up.
These horrific crimes would not end. Gun bans do not work. Look at Chicago. If they worked,
Dude, Chicago's not a fucking island, dude. With like 90% of the guns in Chicago come from the states that are around Illinois.
And the reason is simple.
I hate this argument. It's so stupid.
Follow the law. But the criminals do not. That is why they're criminals. But let me tell you what would happen if they succeeded in confiscating guns. Many more people would lose their lives.
What?
Here's a statistic from the Obama White House. Hardly a right-wing source. Guns are used defensively to stop a crime between 500,000 and 1 million times every single year.
This is bullshit, for the record. It's the CDC numbers. It's complete fucking bullshit. And not only that, but also, this is a complete fucking falsified data point. It's a fake statistic. It's completely fucking, it's been owned and dunked on numerous times. For every fucking crime that a gun actually prevents, you're 7 times more likely to kill yourself with a gun. 11 times more likely to kill yourself with a gun. For every fucking crime that is thwarted by a gun, you are significantly more likely to actually be harmed by the gun itself. It's fucking bullshit. It's not, I think it was like a CDC, I think it was a CDC study or something. Wait, hold on. I think my guess is here. 1 second.
Stopping the bad guys, imprisoning violent criminals, and protecting our vulnerable. In 2013, I introduced legislation called Grassley-Cruz. It was designed to take the guns out of the hands of felons and fugitives and those with serious mental illness. Grassley-Cruz did three things. First, it would mandate that the Department of Justice conduct an audit of federal agencies to make sure that all felony convictions have been reported to the database. Second, Grassley-Cruz would create a gun crime task force at the Department of Justice, specifically to prosecute felons or fugitives who try to buy firearms illegally. In 2010, there were 48,000 felons and fugitives who tried to illegally buy guns. The Obama Department of Justice prosecuted only 44 of them. That is indefensible. Third, Grassley-Cruz would have authorized $300 million for school safety improvement grants to harden our schools. When Grassley-Cruz came to the Senate floor for a vote in 2013, 52 senators voted
during the
yes,
period where there was an assault
9
weapons ban,
Democrats.
yes, mass shootings
It
decreased.
was the most bipartisan piece of comprehensive
Pretty much
legislation
became non-existent
before
almost.
the Senate. So why didn't Grassley-Cruz pass into law if a majority of the Senate voted for it? Because Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats
Is this
filibustered.
guy just like making it seem as
If
though
you
he's
want to
like
talk
actually
about
in
policy
favor of
proposals that could have stopped at least some of these mass murders, Grassley-Cruz is a perfect example. Take Sutherland Springs. There, it was already illegal for the shooter to purchase firearms, doubly so, because he was a felon and because he had a domestic violence conviction. So how did he get his guns? Because the Obama Air Force failed to report his felony conviction to
Bro,
the
this
database.
is awesome. He's saying
so he passed
he's
the
saying
background
the Democrats are
If
responsible for gun
Grassley-Cruz had
violence
passed,
because
if
they
the
don't want
Democrats
to
hadn't
do
filibustered,
because they don't want to do fucking
then the
gun
DOJ
control,
audit
dude.
would have presumably caught
He said the
his
Obama
felony
Air Force,
conviction.
dog. What the fuck?
And the Gun Crimes Task Force would have prosecuted
Goddamn you,
him
Obama.
for the felony of lying on the background check form. That would have meant that that monster would have been sitting in a federal prison instead of murdering 26 innocent people.
Folks, we have Josh Androsky here. He is an organizer, comedian. We're going to be talking about California. We're going to be talking about the California primaries that are coming up. It's primary season, baby.
Let's go.
And but before we do that, I'm going to punish him with some Ted Cruz. Or actually, you know what? We can move away from Ted Cruz right now because we have limited time because like I will bump you when Trump comes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
unless you want to be here for that. And
I'm happy to.
What do you? Okay. Before we get started, then what's up with guns? What's your take on guns? Like them? Hate them?
Oh, guns. First off, too many. I want to say too many. Probably. I would say guns. Not my favorite thing to like have, like maybe like in your home or like in your car. I feel like I
have one in every room.
Yeah, in
the
every
house.
room.
Yeah.
Do you have it like under something hidden, or
Yeah.
is it just yeah?
Yeah. I in the backyard. I dug holes.
So it's like a horrifying Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
every time you go to your house.
because you never know. You never know
Yeah.
who you might need to pop. You know, it's just it happens.
Yeah,
So
I wish.
voted, yeah.
I wish I could take every gun and put them in a volcano. I feel like that would A, look really cool, and B, the end result would be sick.
This is what California politics looks like, Chad. Okay, we are lost. The moral decay has already rotted the gruesome Gavin Newsom's oblast, California oblast, for a very long time. Okay. But yeah, no. Ted Cruz is at the NRA. He bravely actually is there still, even though Greg Abbott kind of chickened out.
The shooter
Oh,
in
he
Uvalde
fucking didn't go?
No, he didn't go, and instead he was like, "Yeah, I have to be
way
at Uvalde today. That's why I'm not
Santa Fe
coming."
shooter did.
It's like
Fake
John
friend.
McCain, like
He
being
walked
like,
through an
we have
unlocked
to.
back
I'm
door.
losing, but we have to cancel. Or we have to pause the campaign. We have to pause It's
serious
a normal
funding
thing to do. It has nothing to do with me
upgrade our
losing and
schools,
picking the worst
to
running mate
install
ever.
Bulletproof doors and locking classroom doors.
Ted's actually bringing up really important points here right now.
This one got a standing O. Doors now get a
And
standing
to hire
ovation.
law
Yeah, door
enforcement to
regulation.
protect our most precious asset.
It's really funny. They hate the government except for now women's bodies and the way to leave a room. I
Senate
feel like they're
Democrats
just becoming Louis
cynically
C.K.
blocked
No, it's
school
like-
safety funding.
No,
in
he's
Grassley.
bravely speaking out against fire code, which has been harming Americans for far too long. Multiple exits. Think again, friend. Okay, one exit. Funnel all the potential victims into one tidy little corridor to make it much easier for the shooter to get as many kills as possible. This is the way to do it.
Make every building the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory again.
Yes, precisely, exactly. Fuck OSHA, fuck fire code, no fire escapes. People are dying. Many people are dying on fire escapes in fires.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What if you trip? What if you're smoking a cig on a fire escape and you're too
Yeah.
fucked up and you trip and you fall off? We gotta get rid of all of them.
Yeah, yeah. As the chatter also pointed out, schools need moats and drawbridges with crocodiles that are, swimming in the moat.
You got to do something to make the crocodiles jump so that people like jump out of the water every once in a while so that the people like the criminals see the crocodiles and they're like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like maybe if it was just a moat, I might, but there's crocodiles in there. So
I
I'm out.
usually assume that there's going to be crocodiles when I see a moat. I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, a moat is just like, it's nothing. You know what I mean? On its own.
Yeah, dude. It's just
The
a
school
really
is basically
shitty pool.
defenseless at
It's
that point.
Yeah. At that point, it's just like the worst pool, just like a donut pool.
By the way, what do you think about how fucking disgusting it is that like they have, instead of blaming guns or the police for their incompetence, they are looking at blaming the school door and the teacher that may have propped it open, and also the what was the other one? The custodian. Now apparently they're saying the custodian is responsible because he took his sweet time to give the cops the key to actually unlock the door after the shooter was barricaded in there with like multiple children who were calling 911 the entire time, begging for the cops to breach.
Was the custodian also the person who told the cops, nah, let him in, let the shooter in? Because then maybe I would blame
he was not.
the custodian. No, he wasn't? Okay. So, look, dude, like it's so, at this point, so for the last couple of years, it's been like, okay, they don't even believe what they're saying. But now they're like running out of things to lie about.
Yeah.
Like doors, bro. Like fucking doors. Like, somebody, both like the doors are bad. And then also somebody opened the door, but then somebody else didn't open the door enough. Like, fuck off. Like, I know you think we're stupid, but we're not that fucking stupid.
I think we're that stupid. I mean, I think Americans are definitely that stupid. I mean, I'll tell you this much. Part of the reason why these insane conspiracy theories have been popping around since like Sandy Hook about like how it's a psyop or a false flag, and that exact same fucking conspiracy you saw in the Buffalo shooting as well, that it's like the government that did this to like, create a scenario for gun control. They did it to themselves. Part of the reason for why that is happening is because, well, one, because everyone's just mentally ill, obviously, but also, I mean, who amongst us is not? But also because they have run out of options. And if you're not going to re-examine what you've been fed through the TV for your entire life, and you're not going to re-examine how weird it is that like a big part of your cultural signifier is your commodity consumption in the form of guns, and it's like your literal identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like a gun guy. That's all you want to do. Instead of re-examining how fucked up that is, or how there's something wrong with that, you just look for new reasons. It's a coping mechanism, and that's precisely what's happening here. That's why they will come up with even more insane ideas, like the moat. Maybe actually, that's not even a joke. Like who knows at this point? I mean, also it's really funny that it looks so fucking villainous. By the way, this is like straight up. Like this looks like villain shit.
That guy looks like he made RoboCop.
I am the majority impromptu speech before the Greensboro City Council.
Oh, wow. He gave a speech
during that
before the
speech
Greensboro City Council. We got to hear
that
what
he
he's
said,
got to say.
When the second when the Second Amendment was written,
This
whether
dude
the
literally did
framers
public
liked it or
comment
not,
at a city council meeting
they
and
wrote
was
it
like,
for everybody, and
I'm relevant.
everybody. And the law-abiding
I
citizens.
feel
Dude,
like
it's crazy that they're literally like the entire narrative at the NRA convention has been basically just repeating over and over again, like, we have to keep the victims in our hearts, but also the real victim, the guns. Like, straight up, they're basically every fucking conversation has revolved around like somehow bringing it back to the real victims, which are the gun owners in society. The hardest hit, the worst hit.
the most hate crime demographic, gun
100%.
owners.
I'm always hate criming gun owners, like, all the time.
Well, no, they generally do it to themselves accidentally.
Yeah.
Like if
That-
they put like the gun in the sweatpants.
Yeah.
That's what they call a hate crime because they hate that crime that they just committed.
That for sure. What, Oh, this is the guy that spoke in front of Greensboro or whatever. Okay, so this is irrelevant. So while this is going on,
Yeah.
and not our big beautiful boy Donald Trump, let's talk about why I brought you here. You you've been your DSA guy. You've been very active in California politics. How would you introduce yourself to this community?
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm an alcoholic. I love. Okay, so here's what I'll say. 2016, Bernie lost, and I just sort of myself and a few other people. We were TV writers. I wrote for SpongeBob SquarePants and Vice, and
That's a broad range.
well, the thing that ties those together, psychedelics.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, I was just like, I did stand up. A bunch of people did
Can I
stand
call you a
up.
community organizer when I'm like saying?
You can say community organizer, sure.
Okay.
So my friends and I were like, Bernie lost. It felt like there was nothing we could do to affect that, right? Like, it felt like it was just like, when Hillary basically just like told the AP to be like, I won the California primary, doesn't matter anymore. Like, her making my vote not matter, like, really pissed me off. Because this was like the one time in my entire life living in California that my vote for president actually mattered, that I had like a say in any way. And so I was like, well, fuck that. Like, we gotta, if we're ever gonna beat these just like assholes, we gotta do it locally. So a bunch of us started organizing locally within DSA, within a group called Ground Game. There's a bunch of really good groups in LA. The Sunrise chapter that like sprung up. We decided, like, we found out, right? We all live in LA. That the LA City Council is the most powerful city council on the planet.
Oh yeah.
And it is that way for a couple of reasons. One is there's only 15 of them for 4 million people. To put that in perspective, Chicago, which has 1 million fewer people, has 3 times the amount of council members, 3 times the amount of democracy in fucking Chicago. The city that's known for having above board politics.
Okay, I was about to say that's probably because like that's 3 times the amount of people that can like steal money from the. There's 3 times more corruption opportunities.
Sure, there are, but there's also 3 times more opportunities. Like, every time there's a smaller constituency per politician, that smaller constituency has a better chance of like dragging that politician forward towards things that would actually help fucking essential workers and shit. So that plus the fact that LA has what's known as a weak mayor, strong council system. And that weak mayor is not just making fun of Eric Garcetti for being
He's
like,
a soft boy.
God,
He is very weak.
I think he's the world's softest mayor.
Yeah.
He's like a pillow. He's
I
like
think it's time.
memory
It's time
foam.
we get an Eric Adams. We get an Eric Adams clone here in Los Angeles as well. I don't think the LA Police Department is doing too well with the $8 million that they're spending every single day.
Yeah,
I think they
no.
need more. They need a strong ex-cop to run. Maybe a billionaire.
I would love a billionaire mayor. And you know what? We have a chance this year. Yeah, we do. We have our own little like baby Trump, it's weird. He's like a bizarro Trump because Trump really wants to be friends with celebrities, but never gets to be friends with celebrities. And then he also
You're about to say Caruso doesn't want to be friends with celebrities, but celebrities are like, I love you?
I think so. I genuinely think that Rick Caruso doesn't like being friends with anybody.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he truly, like, he hates people. It really, like, when you look at him and the way that he created the Grove. By the way, if you are familiar with like the Americana,
profound achievement, greatest. I despise the Grove so much with all my heart.
It's the worst place.
I hate going there. I hate that. I absolutely despise it. It's just like a tourist trap. Oh my god! I have a anarchist in the chat who has been fucking throwing daggers, and we're gonna talk about your boy Ugo.
Yes.
Because there's an anarchist who's like really fond of. What's his face?
Albert?
Yeah,
dude. I mean, look, okay, so let's talk about that. Very quickly, I do want to say about the Grove. For those of you that have never been to the Grove, imagine the world's fanciest mall that was also trapped in a snow globe made by Goldman Sachs. Like, that's what the Grove is.
That's a perfect description.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I worked there.
Oh, you did?
I worked at the Cheesecake Factory at the Grove. It was my first
There was
job.
a Cheesecake Factory there?
There isn't anymore?
I don't think so.
Damn, man, R.I.P.
That's a bummer. I do love Cheesecake Factory. I'm actually unironically a fan of Cheesecake Factory and other like American things. As a person who came here when I was 18 years old, like those are things that I'm fascinated by. Mm-hmm. Like CVS and all of the goods that you can purchase. It's great. Okay.
So the city council races. So yes,
someone said it's still at the Grove. Sorry.
Oh, it is. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God. Okay, so I work with a candidate named Ugo Soto Martinez. This is Ugo. So he is a longtime labor organizer. He's been working with the hotel workers. He came on this show once.
Yeah.
On your stream. I don't know why I just called it a show. I made myself look like I was like 60 years old. Like, he was on your old TV show.
We say that sometimes.
You say show?
So
Okay.
I say broadcast, but it's all good.
Okay. 15 years he's worked with hospitality workers, right? We're talking busboys, we're talking cooks, we're talking housekeepers, like some of the hardest working people in our city, most of them immigrants, and he goes up against fucking BlackRock and he wins like pay increases, he wins fucking free family health care, even for fucking part-time workers.
Sounds like communism.
It is, and it's great. But the thing that he also wins, which is like the favorite, like his thing that he talks about the most, is when you build a union, you create a permanent structure to fight your boss. You create this like structure that allows you to forever not get fucked over by your boss. And so like in doing that for 15 years, learning from these immigrant housekeepers like himself, like he was a server and a food runner at a hotel that he got in high school because his dad became disabled and he had to work to help his family. So he worked his way up and then helped lead the unionizing drive. But it's that kind of thing, right? That like Ugo's been able to, at these hotels, they're like as diverse as our city, right? There's like the cocktail servers who are mostly white, like the front of house, like receptionists, right? That are like mostly white. And then you've got like the back of house Latino and, other immigrant and people of color. And there is a way to find mutual interest, right? To be able to talk. And that's what Ugo's so fucking good at, is like getting in, working through the tension with people who have differing ideas, and then allowing there to be like a point of like mutual, like a mutual goal, right? So a perfect example of this is he is endorsed by both the Sunrise Movement and the Oil Refinery Workers Union. And the reason why is because they both trust him to do a real just transition that doesn't fuck over workers, And so that's what Ugo represents, is like bringing together the diverse movements, right? Like the immigration movement. He brought labor into the fight against police violence because one of the people he organized a union with, his son was murdered by the sheriff's department, by our neo-Nazi fucking gang-ridden sheriffs.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it actually happened in the district where Ugo's running, and the incumbent that he's running against didn't do shit. And so, like, Ugo's brought in, you know, the movement against police violence, labor, immigration. He's been working with DSA and Olympics, doing like anti-Airbnb stuff for years. So like he is part of all these things. So like that's what he represents, is like bringing all of the movements together. And that's why I personally am like working with him. As to Al Corrado and Kate Pinus, who are both like good candidates as well, the great thing about California primary elections is they're called jungle primaries. And the reason why is because it doesn't matter what your party is, because this is such a fucking one-party dictatorship.
Yeah, awesome, which is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's the actual. We're following the revolutionary principles of Marxist-Leninism, unlike all these other revisionist states.
One party, baby. Like, yeah, that's why, hail Newsom.
Chairman Newsom.
Hail Newsom. So if no candidate gets over 50% of the vote,
there's a runoff.
There's a fucking runoff. So the more good candidates there are, hell, even the more bad candidates there are, that's every single vote that doesn't go to the incumbent is a vote that makes sure one of the challengers goes to a runoff. So for me personally, like and like Ugo and our team, like we've talked about this the whole time, right? It's like, we're in this against Mitch. We aren't going to ever like talk shit about another campaign because we're happy. Like whatever happens,
I'll do that.
Them. Yeah. Well, we'll. I mean, except for Mitch, we're gonna talk shit about Mitch.
No, I just like. I think it's like splitting the vote is unironically a very